Well, it's a good evening for us guys in Australia, but it's not so much good evening here. It's a good morning and a good morning. And I'll pass you over to Andrena at the top of the page here. Yeah.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Dreaming the New Dream. And today, here in the UK, it's another lovely rainy day. Still praying for the sun to come out so we can get some summer sunshine. So it's the 25th of July. So we're on the last lap of this month now. And it is my great pleasure to have Toni Ghazi on the show today. And you're in for a real treat. This is going to be another lovely sharing, something very, very different. And as you know, we love all walks of life of people sharing their passions and their dreams. So without further ado, welcome, Toni. And it's so lovely to have you. And I know it's 5 a.m. for you, I believe, because Toni's live from Washington.
Yes. Hi, Andrena. Thank you so much. Hi to your audience. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. And look, we live in a timeless world. So 5 a.m. means nothing. I'm already up. I'm excited. So I'm really looking forward to our conversation and to seeing where this goes. And I feel like we may have several episodes because there's so much to share, but we'll do our best to share what's meant to be shared.
Let's start with the very first one with you. So you represent the Antarean-Heart. You're a channel of spirit guides and you work with the Praying Mantis Being and a wide range of beings. So I have to ask, when I saw that you worked or you channel the Praying Mantis, I was thinking, oh, this is different, because the picture I've got in my mind is like the little head and the tiny little insect. And obviously it's not a tiny insect that you channel, but that's what we know it as, or most of us anyway. So it's going to be really interesting. So let's start at the very beginning. So we've just spoken briefly then, and you were born in Lebanon. So would you like to share some of the steps that have brought you to where we are here now and today?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So my journey is really interesting because now looking back, I see small little crumbs across past 44 years. So I'm 44 years old. I just turned 44 this year. That really led me to where I am today. And I really accelerated because I was totally asleep until I was 40 years old. And like really my awakening began when COVID hit. But it was a very slow, like small trickles between, I would say like COVID year to like 2 years later until like last July of 2023 when everything exploded like consciousness wise. And I stepped into this new version of who I am. But then going back, so I was born in Lebanon, and I was there until I was 15 years old, and I moved to Washington, D.C. With my family, and I've been here ever since. I actually grew up Christian, so like the whole Catholicism, and then like Greek Orthodox actually were my main kind of, I guess, religious like way of understanding the world. And I was quite into God, into Mother Mary, into all these archetypes. And it's not like we went to church every single week, but I could feel like the connection with like the beyond, although like we labeled it as Christianity and like we labeled it as like Mother Mary or Jesus. But I knew deep down it was a much bigger like thing than those labels, but I didn't know like much beyond what you're taught from your parents and like from society. So fast forward when we moved to the US, I spoke zero English and like we moved straight to high school. The first week when we arrived to the US, I began receiving this magazine that's called SETI, SETI, which is like Search for Extraterrestrials. Look, I didn't speak any English. Like we had no money. There's no way on earth I could have ordered any kind of magazine of that sort. I was 15 years old. But all of a sudden, it began coming like to our address just by itself. Totally forgot about it. But like when I awoke when I was 40, like 1 or 2, I totally like, began having all these memories of all these little crumbs that really showed me I have been awakening all this time, like without realizing it was there. But let's fast forward to like when I was 40 years old. Um, and then COVID hits, right? The whole world shuts down. Everybody's like so afraid. Like my husband is on the news, like watching it every day. We have to wear masks and like we have to follow like all these protocols of um of of fear, and that did not vibrate with me at all. That did not like sit well with me. It didn't make sense to me. I'm like where is this coming from? Why do we have to live in fear? And why are we really giving our power to this disease or like this condition? It's all really like we're creators and like we create our own reality. So if we give power to something, then you'll have the effect of that power. And that really kind of began my awakening. And then all of a sudden, like during COVID, because we had 2 or 3 months where it was quite silent and like you couldn't work um, and like the whole world stopped. All of a sudden, like documentaries on TV would just show up, all about consciousness, all about channeling, all about UFOs, all about meditation, all about these grander ideas. And like when I say I was totally like asleep to it, I knew nothing about channeling, I knew nothing about meditation, I knew nothing about UFOs. I was quite in the dark. But like for 3 months, I was obsessed with the show. It is called Interview with Extra Dimensionals by Ruben Langdon. He had, I think, 2 seasons, and each season about 10 episodes, and purely about channelers, where he showcased all these channels from all over the world that have been channeling since the 1980s or like the 90s, right? As I'm listening to the English aspect of it, it's all making sense, but all contextually was like, what is this? It was so weird. It was so new, but I would not watch it. I kept watching it, even to the point I watched it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And I knew later on, like a year later, that I really had to watch all of these episodes like several times to allow my conscious body or my light body to absorb this information so I can remember it on my journey in the next year. And my awakening just exploded. And I took one channeling class, and I knew immediately that I'm supposed to be a channel, and I'm supposed to do that. And I really trusted myself like quite quickly. And then I practiced like with my friends for about, I want to say like 4 or 5 months. At the end of 2022 to March of 2023, where we would meet every Tuesday, and like we would channel from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., like just for fun, no expectations. We would joke, we would laugh, we would go in, we would come out of it. And that gave me the pure confidence and the real connection with what's happening. And then when July came of like 2023, I had a calling and like this vision that I need to put a decal on the back of my car in Washington, D.C., in this very conservative town, as I'm driving around, that I talk to aliens and I talk to praying mantis beings. And that, I swear to you, literally the universe heard my calling. And like from there on, it was pure magic. Like it's almost like I stepped into this new version of me that is the praying mantis channel, and everything changed. So I sell real estate, and that's my full-time job here. But I also do full-time channeling. I also stutter, and I've always struggled with stuttering. I was a prisoner of my own throat and speech for years and years and years. So I use the word and then I use the word like to help me transition, because if I don't, I just I'm like the word wouldn't come out. But as I channel, I have free flow, like not a lick of stuttering, not a word that I stutter. It's a very different way, I guess, of beingness. And that gave me like proof beyond the images I get and all the knowledge like that I get, that I am in a different state of being. Um, so yeah, this is quickly like a quick kind of fast track.
Fast track.
Yes. And then I began seeing UFOs, by the way, like they appeared above my house like 3 or 4 times. I see orbs, I see fairies. I captured all on video, and I have a lot more videos that that I could share. But all those kind of changed my mind about what my world is, what I thought my world is, and what society also thinks world is, which is all an illusion, like to begin with. And we can talk more deeper about the illusion and the matrix and how the government or other entities kind of draw these pictures for you to think your world is this way, to really make you feel like disempowered, when everything is in your heart, everything is within you. You are the projector of your own movie, like literally, and everything comes from your heart. So I'll stop here for now, and then we can dialogue more.
Yeah, because I know, like, it's your mission to uplift and guide humanity back to their true sense of who they really are, and not who we've been led to think we are, you know. And that's what fascinates me now, because there is such an awakening happening, and we are in the greatest time of history, and we know changes is happening, and it's happening so fast now. Like, we're, you know, the energies are like, I've knocked me for 6 this week, but and I know many of my friends have all been struggling. They've gone down, not feeling well, and anyway. So going back to your mission, waffling on here.
No, it's good.
Yeah. So what tips would you suggest that can help people? Because a lot of people are seeing things, sensing things, or, you know, seeing energy and not knowing what they're seeing, or seeing auras, or, you know, I often see little orbs, and I've taken pictures of orbs. I haven't seen so many lately for whatever reason. So what sort of guidelines or steps to bring us back into our heart of who we are, and not listening to half of these things that are coming out from can I think of a suitable word, but anyway, not of the highest good, let's put it that way.
Yes. I mean, look, we really need to begin, um, like to believe, and more than believe, like really know that we are being communicated with, and have been, and always are, by all kinds of beings, by all versions of who you are, by all these consciousnesses that are like beyond what we think like our world is. That's always happening. It's not new to you. But when you begin experiencing like those things, it's really telling you that you're expanding your world, that you are beginning to see your world more than you think what it is, and trust what you're seeing, because you're creating it like to begin with. But then you have the three-dimensional aspect of where you have to restructure and kind of reboot your system and erase everything that you've known about life, and rebuild it from a new expanded perspective. And like this is where it's a little bit of I guess a shock to the system, where like, what do you mean I have to rebuild my system? Like I know what I know, and I know that it's true, but oftentimes it's the illusion of what you think is true. So you need to go back into yourself and just redefine that your world is limitless and not limited. Redefine that you are God, and God is not outside of you. And like God could be anything. It could be praying mantis, it could be Jesus, it could be Krishna, it could be Buddha, it could be all these other deities that all have that all has these labels, but it's all like the same source, right? You need to begin believing and knowing and trusting that you are that God, and you are creating it, and it's emanating from you and through you, and not outside of you. And the whole idea of separation, that I'm separate than the next human, or I'm separate than the rock, or I'm separate than the river, I'm separate than the wind, I am separate than the moon, or like the planets, or like the animals. There is no separation. We are all one. These are all like separate. These are all the illusion that you're separate, to experience each facet from that perspective. So you are the fish, you are the bird, you are the wind, you are these planets, you are these aliens, you are these orbs, you are these rivers. But and like, why? Because you are multidimensional. We have infinite lives that we live, and like infinite versions that we live, but we don't realize that it's us, because we've been trained and we've been kind of brainwashed that we are separate than that. So it really goes back to the foundation of like who we are, as like one source, as like one being that has split itself into these many pieces, to allow the self to see itself from each of those perspectives. And it could shock people's system, right? Because when you go in your heart, when you look in the mirror, like let's say if you stand like in front of the mirror, and it's a great tool, like to stand, in front of the mirror, and like begin speaking to yourself and say, look, I thought I knew myself, but I don't, and I really like want to delve into who I really am. You get to the spot where you get to yourself and you freak out, because in that moment, like, you realize you don't truly know who you are. What you know is the version of you that has been brainwashed in a sense, or trained like to think who you are. So it takes some courage to step into those boundaries and to expand your mind. But whenever like you experience like crazy stuff, if you see ghosts, if you see orbs, if you see a ship, if you see dreams, if you have inklings, if you have feelings, if you have kind of memories that come through like through your third eye, know that as these things happen, they're literally like markers that you are pushing your boundary and you are expanding in your own consciousness. So you got to take that step, you got to take that leap and really believe that it's true. You're not crazy, you're not schizophrenic, you're like none of those labels that our medical world has like placed on us, which like schizophrenia and all these things are not conditions. They're just expanded consciousness that are able to be aware of like multitudes of who they are all at once, but you don't believe that you have that ability, so you begin experiencing what's called like schizophrenia, or or whatever like these things are. So there's a lot to unpack. Yeah,
Masses.
yeah, totally. That's why I'm saying we need several episodes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So yeah. So it is like unpacking, is taking the layers off of ourselves, and it, just keep, like different issues come up, you work through them, you clear them.
Yes.
And or you don't always know what's going on, but with meditation or praying or whatever techniques people do is helping us to uncover, like you say, the true you. So so standing in the mirror would be a good start, eh?
Exactly. Yes. And then the idea of judgment is actually like the other like main key, like judging yourself, like judging like your choices, like judging your decisions, and also judging all the facets of who you are that you are becoming to know that you are judging. Because look, judgment really separates you. It creates distance from like the one self that you are to the other self that you are. And we've been so trained to judge ourselves, other people, like other choices, other species, other humans. Judging is another like part of the matrix to keep you in the matrix, because the moment you stop judging any decision, the moment you stop judging even yourself and all the choices that you made, whether they're good or bad, or neutral, you begin integrating yourself and bringing every facet of who you are back to your heart. And when you do that, and I'm getting chills right now, and look, and like when you do that, when you bring all these facets back to your heart, you reintegrate yourself and you're able to see yourself as the whole being that you are. Judgment is purely designed to keep those pieces away from you, so you feel alone, so you don't get the wholeness of like who you are. So that's the other piece of the puzzle. Like you first have to get to know yourself and do not judge any decision. And when I say any decision, all decisions, all of them. And that's the other hardest part. How can I not judge myself if I made the wrong, like like decision or a bad decision? Because like through creation's eyes, it has no judgment. It does not see wrong. It does not see good. And it does not see, like, in a sense, neutral. Everything is an experience, like, for the soul to expand. How else can a soul, like, expand if it doesn't learn all these facets of things? The infinite. And the infinite means everything, the good, bad, the evil, and the neutral. But like the spectrum of judgment was created, like, within our humanity to keep us in the matrix, to keep us divided, to keep us separate. So
they did a good job with that, with something called Ovid. And I think there was such a huge separation, and it brought up so many issues for people, and anger, resentment, judgments. It was unbelievable, but it gave us also the greatest gift of looking at things. When I look back now, I can see where I made judgments, people's choices. I found it hard to accept, and like most people, or couldn't accept it, or the great divide. But people are becoming aware now that they've not been given the real information, and there's like a huge awakening of people coming back together now, realizing that you're all being fed a lot of lies and stories that we don't need anymore, and we're not prepared. You know, there's a lot of us in different groups that are getting together that are not prepared to take on all this rubbish, putting it
Yes,
mildly.
yes, exactly, exactly. And then know that there are support groups out there, right? There are
Mm,
a lot of people have awakened. So if you are experiencing these newfound truth, these new paradigms, and you think you're alone, believe me, like when I say you are not alone. There are thousands, not, and even like millions of people that are going like through the same thing, but they may not be like voicing it out because they may feel alone like themselves. So like know that there are support groups out there that will support your journey, that will assist you. But not only humans, there are a lot of beings that are supporting you. You are always supported by yourself, by your higher self, by God, by all these beings. We're never alone, and that's another layer where we were taught we are alone.
yeah.
Never. We are always have been communicated with. We always have messages like that we're getting constantly, but we're not aware to look for them. You're not look. If like you believe that like you're alone and then like things are happening like to you and not through you, then you're not going to be aware to listen to messages, right? Yeah, like it's like you're almost oblivious that there's information all around you all the time, like through beings. But like when you begin like believing like those concepts, and like look, you don't have to like learn them like overnight or like believe like overnight, but allow those concepts like to seep in. Don't like push
Mm,
them away, don't resist them, right? They'll do their magic in their own way. Like your own higher self will help you remind who you are in its own way, but allow your mind to receive all these things the same way how I'm like when I watched those documentaries for 3 months, and like when I say I had no clue like what they were talking about, all of the terms that we used in like spirituality and in like channeling, I had no clue like what they meant. I had no context. I had no tangible thing. I didn't understand. I mean, I understood the English, but that's all I understood. I like might as well have um, been been like listening to Chinese like a news channel. This is how it felt to me. But I did not push it away, right? There was deep down, I'm like, there's something here, and I may not understand it, but I'll probably understand it one day. That alone is already expanding like your mind. You're
mm,
begin to receive. So believe in yourself and like believe in your own instinct, and know there are support groups all over the world, every language, every culture, where you where they can help and assist you in like the awakening, and you feel that what you're experiencing is not crazy, because
mm.
humans are ascending, right? We are all ascending as a one collective. But like back to judgment, don't even judge yourself for having judged yourself that you made a wrong
Yeah.
decision. So there's layers and layers and layers of like judgment. So it's very important. Judgment is the biggest thing ever, the biggest thing. And it takes like some work for people because we've been so trained like since we were kids to judge, so trained, and it's so instinctual and it's so natural now like to judge, right? But when you begin to like stop judging, you really integrate yourself back into the wholeness of who you are, and it's a beautiful journey. And you begin seeing everybody as empowered beings. That's the other thing. We're also like so taught that everybody is so like disempowered, everybody is a victim. Even the perpetrators, their souls, they're light beings. They're just putting on the costume, that costume, to experience life from the perpetrator's view. The same as the victims. They're not disempowered. They're not weak. They are strong souls that have chosen to come here to just put on this costume of being the victim and experience life and all from like that perspective. But we're all divine beings, and when you begin integrating everybody and just seeing that we're on this stage of creation, like literally we're on stage just putting on these costumes as a male, as a gay male, as a woman, as a killer, as a bad person, whatever. We're all light beings because there is no death. We never die. We
Mm.
always exist. We just transition. And like some of these concepts will like rattle your mind. Like, um, I've had people like say, like they talked about war, right? And like kids dying and like people dying and like people kind of shooting each other, and like the idea of like, well, I don't see that anymore from a disempowered view. I really empower everyone and like see them as these super strong souls that came to earth to play out these roles. Why? To allow our heart to expand, to allow us to witness like what we call tragedy, like to allow us to witness like what we call uh, like atrocities, to allow our heart to expand with compassion to a new level that we never had before. So everything is co-created, everything is really orchestrated to get you back in your heart if you begin seeing it from a heart perspective. But if you see it from the limited perspective, they're like they're disempowered, like they're weak, and I am separate like than them, and you add judgment, then you begin creating story of disempowerment, like of judgment, of separation that keeps you in the loop, of the matrix.
Mhm.
So you got to really begin like redefining all these grander concepts that seem bad, that seemed awful, that seem X, Y, and Z in a very different way of heart and of empowerment. And literally your world will shift. Because in that moment, you would have integrated every aspect, of creation that's in our world on like the spectrum of judgment, and integrated back to heart. Because like, what's the heart? The heart is like lava. It melts all belief systems like away, and it allows you to reformulate and recreate a new paradigm for yourself. And when you begin thinking from that new paradigm, it shifts your frequency. And when you shift your frequency, you begin like living in a world of that vibration of heart. You begin seeing people that are loving each other. You begin just loving everything. And I'm getting chills again. You begin, yeah, you begin experiencing beings from all over creation that are coming to you because now you are on the frequency of all. Every
Mm.
being that exists in the universe really is of the heart vibration. The government has done a good job to also like give the narratives that like aliens are bad and like they're gonna invade Earth and I don't know what else. I laugh at. I mean, it's so like comical to me because like they're so advanced in like in consciousness and in technology that we cannot even like conceive of, that if they really want to like hurt us or like or obliterate Earth, they would have done it eons ago. What are they waiting for? Like they're so like right, it's super comical to me. But all these narratives keep that fear and like keep that judgment and keep you separate, right? And it keeps you not wanting to know who like those beings are and how friendly they are. But truly, 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 like those beings, because they live in their heart, they are waiting for us to be ready like for them. That's the key. They're not gonna they're not gonna appear like for the sake of appearing. They want to feel and know that we're on the same frequency of like the universe, which is of love, like for them to appear. So as you awaken and as you shift your vibration, then you begin seeing them. They're already there, but they're on a different frequency. It's almost like they're on a different radio channel, right? So like we're listening like to your channel, but that there's 20 other channels or 100 that are playing all kinds of music, right? But like you can't hear them because you're not on that frequency. So when you shift your frequency of heart and of the universe, which is the glue and like the cohesion aspect of all creation, then you begin hearing all these other beings. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sorry, I can go on.
Yeah,
There's a lot of topics
that's
to
right.
cover in a few minutes.
Can I ask you, why did you choose the name Antarean?
Yeah. So listen, I had no idea. Like what the Antares was. But I had a great channel that's quite popular, and like she was on the Gaia channel. And I had a channeling session with her, and like she confirmed with me that I was the Stargate keeper of the Antares planet, and it's a real planet in the sky. And like this is what the symbol is on my forehead. That's the Antares. And like when she said it, I just felt this home feeling. I just felt like this knowingness that this is like where my Stargate is. And although it's a planet, it's really like they've shown me that it's an energetic kind of portal that's infinite that allows being to travel like through it of like the right frequency. And of course, I called myself the heart because I've always been a loving human. I've always had this like deep love for everything in my heart that I couldn't kind of I guess in a sense articulate. But when I awoke, I like uh, um, I had like clarity on like where that's coming from. So in like the Praying Mantis Beings, all their messages is about love, is about integration. They've shown me like these images and these experiential like these experiences that I cannot describe in words, because our words are like super limited like to begin with. But like when I channel like with clients, like you get a lot of energetic codes and like you feel things, and it embeds into your light code and into like your light body, and it activate like certain DNA structures within your physical like biological like system, but also in like your energetic system, to become more awakened, to become like more aware. So that's where the Antarean like really came from.
Sure. Hey, we've had animal whisperers who have that affinity with normally our traditional pets, which would be the dogs and the cats, and then you get the horses, and then you get the even sheep, for example. There's a guy down the Gold Coast in Brisbane, Greg Bushell. He can have that affinity with animals, including snakes, all forms of what's the name? He just seems to have that unique connection with the telepathic connection with the animals in the physical realm. But there's other people who actually feel like not only is the animal talking to them, but it's actually their actual spirit guide, the physical human spiritual guide, who's using that, using the example of the animal to come to see Greg, who's gone out in sympathy with the human. But in fact, it's not a problem with the animal. It's the problem with the human who needs to go and have some treatment, whether it's psychosis or there's inflammation in the body. The actual animal is empathized with it. And so the actual human spiritual guide is the one who's actually brought the animal to Greg, and it's up to Greg then to bring the attention to the human to say, listen, you have an issue that needs to be addressed. How far has that got with you, with animals around you? I mean, first of all, I would have thought that the praying mantis would be a totem animal that would come close to you wherever you went.
Yes, totally. And look, what the praying mantises have taught me, that like we're all ascended masters, right? Every being that you come across with, whether it's a cat, it's a dog, it's a mouse, it's a rat, whatever kind of animal that you like to be at home, if it's a snake, if it's a praying mantis, all ascended masters really reflecting back to you what you need to know. And everything is a reflection, like for us to see what's happening like within us. Because like, again, I go back to the projector idea. We are projecting our reality from our heart, from our beingness, from our belief systems, from our thoughts, from all the limitations and all of the stories that we created. So when they appear, and if you see them separate than you, or like less than you, or like not intelligent, then you create that story. But when you begin kind of expanding and really like seeing them as ascended masters, as light beings in that form, like of a body, if it's a dog, if it's a cat, then you begin like living that real story of co-creation, that they're there to teach me something or to show me something that I'm unable to see because I have created like the story of limitation. Does this make sense? So everything is a co-creation. And when you begin like redefining that, everything I see in is ascended master, even disease, by the way, if like you talk about cancer or like schizophrenia, or I don't know, all these, they're ascended masters. And when you begin seeing them from that perspective, that they're happening through you because they're teaching you something, and when you integrate it with love, you pass through that experience a lot faster in the quantum field, and you don't kind of like live in a separation world where like you keep that distance, right? So yeah.
Oh, yeah, see, Andrena's.
Yeah, Andrena's trying to connect.
Yeah. Just hang on a sec.
There she is. Hi, Andrea.
Yeah. Down on the farm in clement weather. Yeah. The consciousness, you'll have to talk to the rain, I think, Andrena, and just say, go away, come back another day.
No, I think what it is because I'm using my phone for the hotspot. My phone is very hot. I can't where I can put it to cool down. I think that's anyway, I know I need to get a new phone, so it's all in the queue. So I will have to come back to the bit that I've missed. So sorry about that.
No, all in
That's all
divine
right.
timing. We were communicating telepathically, so we're totally cool.
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh God.
So,
Anyway,
so what's the, I mean, the line down the nose?
Yeah, so this back
it's
in,
artwork.
so it's artwork. I know, right? It's like body. So by the way, I've been embodying those since last like September, and I do um all kind of seminars like for real estate, and like when I show houses, like I'm always wearing those. I really don't shy away like from who I am, because it really like gives the opportunity like for others to be whatever version that they want, because we're more than the one, right? Like you're more than a realtor or an architect or like a doctor, or I don't know, like you're really all these versions of who you are, and explore every part of who you are in this life, right? So like this gives them like that permission. But I was in Sedona, Arizona last September, and I went to a retreat before I like began doing this publicly, and I've been called for about a month like to draw this line on my nose, right? And I had no clue like what it was, but then what like came clear when I drew it the next day is that means neutrality. That I don't judge like right, I don't judge left. Every option, every choice, every being, every like reality is valid, like part of creation, and I just don't judge, like no judgment at all. I'm always in the middle. Everything is good, everything is okay, and that keeps me like, this is my my like daily reminder that I'm neutral to all of it, because it's all is okay, all is creation, all is empowered, all is light being, all is beautiful, all is love, all is light.
Would you say,
Interesting.
Tony, that you get to the point where you will no longer need to put that there because now you've actually taken on board and you embodied it?
That's a good question. I like never thought of it. I actually like getting more excited because I want to create my own light language, and I want to put it all over my head. So I don't think that's gonna stop anytime soon, but who knows? This is not really for me. Like this is more for others. I feel like when they witness it,
Mm,
then they kind of, right. It like pushes their boundaries, right?
totally.
And yeah, and it gives them the permission slip to do what they want to do, right? Because they see somebody, because look, if we all wear suits, if we all wear the same um like clothing, then like we're telling like the rest of the world, then you have to look like me and be like this, like in a sense, right? This kind of like pushes them that it's okay if you have tattoos, or if you like to do a nose ring or an earring, or put markings on your face, or be a dancer, or be a singer, and have another job, and have 3 other jobs, and explore all passions of life. Like do what you need to do, because you are all those things. You're not the one identity. That's the other thing. That's where the limitation comes in. You begin identifying yourself as the job, or as a mom, or as a dad, or I'm this. No, you're all of it. Explore all of it. This is our beautiful planet where we can explore all of it in this limited way, right? And through that, you break through the limitation into the unlimited uh, like world, and then aspect of creation. So I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon, and it's really like for others more than me, but it's kind of fun and cool and hip, and I'm like, I'm
That's
different.
right.
Like you activate
Well, I
people. Like,
remember I remember watching CNN when it first came out streaming, and it had a show called Business Unusual, and the American marketing gurus had sent young kids all over Southeast Asia to investigate what possibly could be new that they could then launch as a marketing product or a way of life in America. Anyway, the so-called head guru from the advertising agency in New York flew over to Hong Kong, and he met this young fellow who'd been traveling around for the last 2 years on the payroll of this advertising company. And the guy said to him, I can't trust you. I can't trust you at all. Each time we've come to a meeting, you might be wearing a pair of Reeboks. Today you're wearing Nike. The other day, the shirt that you had was like yours, New Balance. But before that, it was Lightning. And the other one was the alligator one. And if you had a cap, and the young fella said to them, mate, you're not listening. I'm the product. I'm the product. So it comes back to what you're saying. You're stepping out and saying, I don't have to go to school and wear this uniform. I'm breaking free of my uniform. I'm coming back to who I am, and this is who I am, basically.
Yes. Yes, and look, I deal with CEOs. Like, you know, I have all these like top executives, all these big corporations, and I go like this in every single person.
I love
So
it.
I swear to you, I swear. I mean, they're so kind of like they look at you in like awe, and almost they're afraid to ask, right? Because they think, oh my God, like this is religious. If I ask, I'm gonna like offend him. And like we begin talking about it, and I immediately go to UFOs. I go to channeling. I go to consciousness, and like their eyes light up. They're like, wow. Because look, when you go to work, like you put on that hat, but like when you leave work, you're a dad, like you're a mom, like you have insecurities, like you have issues. Who knows? Like you've been traumatized, you've been molested when you were a child. I was molested. We all have these things outside of work that we begin kind of dealing with because we're all the same. There's no separation. But that, what you described is the judgment, right? Because when you see somebody who is different than you, then you go immediately into the judgment space and like you separate them from who you are, and no wonder you're not hearing because you're being like you have this illusion that he's not here anymore or like he's different because he looks different, but that's who he truly is. He is the New Balance. He is um, like the Nike shirt. He is that version of him. And if you allow that and like accept it and just like take it like for what it is, it actually like pushes your own boundaries to face and to be in front of the other facets of who you are. But if you feel uncomfortable to get to know like yourself, then you push it away because you want to stay where like you're comfortable. I know myself as being like a realtor or like whatever it is, and you stay yourself in like the safe zone. So like the people that are like that are out there that are doing stuff that aren't homogeneous and the same are really activating others to give them the permission slip and the opportunity to begin exploring the other facets of who they are, because we are multidimensional and we are not one. We just aren't. We are one as a whole consciousness, but we're all these aspects, you know, of the one. So I go like this every way, and I love every minute of it. And also it's how like you portray yourself. Like I don't do it to activate people. This is who I am, and I just like step into that version, and people like feel that knowingness. They feel that you own yourself with no apology, with no fear, with no doubt, with no worry, with no judgment. Like, and they feel that vibration, and it kind of makes them wonder, like, if he's feeling that way, I want to feel that way too, because I want to be this, I want to be that. I have these other aspects like that I've been hiding from the world because I'm afraid to be judged, right? It all goes back to judgment of self. It goes back to judgment from society. So be yourself wherever you are and step out and just be the beautiful, beautiful light, because we're all light beings. We're all love. We're all creation. I mean, this is like creative, like force, right? This is art. Our whole life is art. Our stories that we create is actual art. Even the limitation is art. Even the judgment is art. It's just one aspect of things, right? So begin integrating like all of it, and know that you are a blank canvas every day. Every day you are a new being. Every second you are like a new being. Like we're constantly expanding without realizing that we are expanding. But the whole trick is because we have unlimited power, because I'm like we are divine. Through our power, we are creating the illusion of disempowerment, and through the experience of this empowerment, we are giving ourselves the experience to expand that and to rediscover our own power through that disempowerment experience. So how creative of us as like divine beings to create this tricky world, to remind ourselves again that we are powerful beings, that we're all divine, and we've created it to begin with from the beginning, but we've been taught that it's coming from outside of us in instead of inside of us out.
You know,
Totally, but
you're in Washington. You're in Washington. So if you're wearing a jumper, it would be the Washington Redskins or the Washington Commanders, since they've changed their name. But if you turned up in Baltimore with amongst the Ravens there, you find that your tribal persona would have to say, "Oh, I come into enemy territory here." So I mean, with America, with its 52 states plus Puerto Rico and a few others thrown in there, we are talking about different states of consciousness when it even comes to America, when you go from one state to another state, where they're trying to build their community, their tribe, because humanity loves to be part of a tribe. They don't want to be isolated. And so to join the tribe means you have to be aware of their customs and their traditions and know the state song, you know.
Yes.
As well as your national song.
Yes, totally. And the biggest tribe is love. Everyone is looking for love. Everyone like wants to feel love. Everyone wants to feel heard. Everyone wants to feel safe. Everyone wants to feel home, and home is in your heart. So we all have the same mission to get to love, but we're really navigating through all the limitations and all the stories and all of like the layers that we created, right? Because we're all seeking the same thing. If you look in every culture, or even like within like the football like mentality or like sports mentality, we're all looking for the same thing. Every single one of us. Again, when you go back home and when you're like by yourself, or like you're in bed, and like you're with your own thoughts, we're all looking to belong. And the only belonging that we all can understand is love, right? So like Redskins and all these labels, in a sense, are a tricky way to keep you like within like the separate like world, but also it's a cool creative way to integrate all of it and know that it's all part of creation, right? But we're all really like seeking the same thing, which is our hearts, love, and feeling like empowered, and feeling that we have the power to change our life, and like in our world, and in our words, in our thoughts, in our creation, because we really all want the same thing, truly, to go back home, which is here.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I have to say, when you get in an elevator, sorry, hang on a second, Andrew. When you get into an elevator, you know, some people will just look up in the ceiling and look around here, and they don't want to actually make eye contact. But some people will say, oh, the weather's been a bit blustery today, and they talk about the weather. In your case, when you step into the elevator, it's there's an eye focus straight away onto your facial features, and then you're turning on the light bulbs to say, oh, okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? So they're probably talking around the water cooler about you on floor 15 or the floor 30 or whatever, isn't it? Yeah.
Look, 100%. Like this becomes a topic of conversation oftentimes, but also I get people that look and kind of stare for a second, and I forget that I have it on because I'm just living life, you know, right? Because I'm not looking in like the mirror all the time, like to remind myself that it's there. But like through their looks, I realize, oh, I have the stuff on my face. That's why they have that look. But I love it because in that moment, what I see on their face is activation. I really see like a permission for them to push themselves. That if it's okay for him to be like this, then it's okay for me to be however like you want to be, right? And it's so natural with me. Like I mean, I truly like forget a lot of times that it's on me. But it's funny like that you mentioned, and oftentimes like we talk, it engages like aliens, it engages UFO, all this talk about spirituality, and they become, wow, really cool. Yes, you know, I actually thought of this, or I saw this movie, and it just begins this whole dialogue, which is beautiful.
Andrena?
Permission to speak. Have you finished? I was going to ask you before we came on air, but it didn't happen. Would you like to do a live channeling for us today? Would that be appropriate?
I would love to. Like the Praying Mantises love to channel. They love to get questions from the audience or whoever. Like they love to dialogue. So I would love to do it when you guys are ready. Just let me know. Yeah,
no, you just go for it. Just let them. Whatever comes through would be wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, so it will take me about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm like, wow. It will take 30 seconds to get into the state. And like, you'll see my speech changes. Like I don't stutter anymore, which is, I wish I don't stutter in this physical life, but I do. And they'll bring a message through, and then they'll ask you like to ask a question, and like you're welcome to ask whatever you want. If like your audience can have a chat thing or however that works on your side.
Okay, well, if anybody has any questions, but I have to say I like the picture is suddenly lit up for me. It's been there all morning, but it's like all of a sudden that picture is talking to me. So, and I thought, I must ask. So go ahead.
Thank you. That's the praying mantis, by the way. That's this one. Hold on.
Yeah.
That's this one.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Not quite the one that when I saw your information.
Yeah. So this is kind of in the background sometimes.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Give me about 30 seconds, and we'll get into it. And from the Antares-Stargate, we come through in this way to co-create with you this beautiful reality of oneness, to merge our hearts with your hearts, to allow every version of who you are, the multidimensional aspect, infinite, divine aspect of who you are, to come together as one and to begin seeing yourself as the whole being that you are, the powerful magician that you always have been. Always have been. You are the magic of your own life. You are the paintbrush of your own canvas, the universe, the stage of creation that you're on. Remember, it is through your infinite power of beingness, of being the divine, that you create this life, this illusion of this empowerment. But even the story that you created of being disempowered allows you the opportunity to rediscover your power through that lens. When you were one, the source, you have chosen one day to split yourself into two pieces, let's say, to allow yourself for the first time to understand what self means. You had a contrast initially. Through that splitting of self into two, you allowed you as a divine being to understand what self meant, because you had a contrast for the first time. And when that occurred in the beginning of times, it allowed you the opportunity to split yourself even further into three pieces, 4, 5, 6, and it goes on and on and on. And through that, you allowed yourself as a divine being to begin seeing you from the different lenses of creation, from the different facets of being. But all of these facets, the infinite, and these facets keeps fracturing more and more and more. As you are an infinite divine being, there is no destination to reach. The only destination to be in is the state of being of heart. To be in this now moment, to focus on what's occurring in this now moment, to allow you to learn what's happening in this now, to allow you to expand and go to the next moment, to, in a sense, teach yourself the next lesson. And when we say the word lesson, we are not saying it from a judgment aspect as if you are learning something new. It is simply from the aspect of expansion. Begin defining the word lessons as being expansion. Then from each facet of creation, from each experience of those facets that you are going through, you allow yourself to expand and you feed, in a sense, the information back to source, which is you to begin with, that view and that perspective. And that is very exciting for source, for you to experience as you learn more and more and more about how creative you are, how powerful you are. So know and remind yourself that although you may live in this world of limitation, that although you have created the idea of illusion, of separation, of disempowerment, of feeling weak, of pretending that things are happening to you instead of through you, know that you have the power to alter, change everything in your life in an instant. Your humanity in this moment is living, in a sense, within the quantum essence of creation. The old paradigm that you need 3, 4, 5, 6, 12-step programs, let's say, in order to heal yourself, in order to shift yourself, in order to ascend, is gone. Begin redefining your life as being this human who is living and within the quantum field, where the now moment is available for you, where you are able to shift vibration and frequency and literally move to a new version of you that is ascended, a new version of you that contains and has magic, a new version of you that is all about love and light, a new version of you that is able to transcend old paradigms, a new version of you that is able to understand, see, and honor the journeys that you have been on, to integrate every aspect of who you are, to integrate every decision that you have made. Because all of it through creation's eyes is valid, is honored. Every choice that you made, every choice that other beings have made, other humans have made, humanity as a collective, society as a collective, country as a collective, species as a collective, all of these choices are simply choices for expansion. And know that you are never judged through the eyes of creation. You have never been judged by the eyes of creation. You will never be judged by the eyes of creation. Instead, you are infinitely loved. You are infinitely supported. You are infinitely held by the fabric of creation, which is you to begin with. So as you ascend on your journey, as your humanity ascends, as you have these dialogues with other humans, as you hear their stories of ascension in a sense, and all of you are ascending in your own ways, all of you are experiencing that ascension from your own facet, all of you are creating the collective ascension for your humanity. Know that as you ascend as a humanity, you are also assisting others to ascend as well. Other beings on your planet, the rivers, the rocks, the plants, the oceans, the birds, the wind, the sun, other planets and galaxies, other beings within the fold of the universes are all ascending with you. And know that with every choice that you make that is empowering who you are, from the aspect of love, from the aspect of light, seeps into the fabric of the universe. Because the idea of separation does not exist to begin with. You are always tethered, you are always linked with every part of who you are, with every facet of who you are, within this world and other worlds, parallel realities, the fold of universes, and other concepts of beingness and consciousness that your mind isn't able to comprehend, because your physical mind to begin with is already limited in nature. So allow your light body, your essence, your consciousness to, in a sense, connect with those grander ideas, to bring back that information to your limited mind for it to be able to understand the infinite. Know that with every non-judgment that you make and judgment that you make, know that you are affecting the rest, and the rest is you. You are affecting you on the other side of the veil, let's say. Remind yourself that I am forever connected to all beings, to all consciousness. The idea of disconnected is simply an illusion. It truly is an illusion. Because if you were truly disempowered, and listen to the next expression and sentence that we are going to say. If you are truly a disempowered being, how can you be able to create your world? How can you be able to create anything if you have no power to create something? And that is where the trick lies. It is through your infinite power that you are able to create the illusion of disempowerment, to allow yourself the opportunity to rediscover your power through that journey of disempowerment, through that illusion. But the moment you break through one illusion, that will give you the permission slip and the excuse, in a sense, to empower yourself, and you begin creating and rebooting and restructuring your belief systems within yourself to really rediscover the true nature of who you are, the divine being, the divine essence, the love, the light, the cohesive force of the fabric of the universe. You are all of it. You are it. The destination that you are trying to reach, from the limited aspect of reaching a destination, is truly knowing who you are. It is all about you. Know that you are loved. Know that you are supported. Know that you are held by the arms of the universe. You are never, ever, ever alone. That is only an illusion. And with that, we begin our dialogue with you. And we thank you for this beautiful co creation, for allowing us to be here with you in this way. You are welcome to make a statement or pose a question at your leisure.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, thank you, thank you for coming through and giving such a beautiful, powerful message, which I know people will listen to again and again for it to go into their consciousness. So absolutely beautiful.
It is with love and honor that we are here with you. And know that not only us, but many other beings are attentively watching you, are excited to see you as a humanity unfold and unfurl this beautiful magic that you are creating, because you are one of the few species within creation that has chosen to come to this planet and experience limitation from this aspect of limitation. You have chosen, as divine, powerful beings, all of you on this planet, to really push yourself to the depth of limitation, to the depth of darkness. As we watch you from the other side re-emerge as the beautiful bright white light that you are. And it takes very strong souls, very wise souls, to have chosen to come and experience this limited path. So pat yourself on the back and congratulate yourself to have chosen to come here, because you are a powerful being to even be in this limited world. And know that each and every one of you will reclaim their power through the act, the love, the heart, the portal of creation that is within you.
Thank you. So how can we open up ourselves more and more to be able to communicate with the beings, or see the beings, or, you know, to the other dimensions?
Yes. You see, by the way that you pose the question, if you disseminate and dissect the way that the question was posed, already tells you that you feel disempowered to a point that you may believe that you do not already connect with other beings.
True.
Allow us to speak about the idea of imagination. A nation of magicians, you are. Magi nation, you are. The idea of imagination has been coming through this channel for the past 6 months of your timing, to remind your humanity that when you imagine ideas, when you imagine concepts, when you dream of things that perhaps don't exist or seem don't exist in your reality, know that the idea of imagination is not creating something that isn't already existing there. The idea of imagination is literal contact with other beings. Listen to our words. When you imagine anything in your life, you are literally making contact with other species, with other beings. Because the idea of imagination really is communication. That you're opening yourself up to the consciousness. And somewhere out there within consciousness, within the infinite, there are species or expressions of creation that are communicating with you and connecting and tethering with you. And through that tethering, through that communication, through that link that you, in a sense, plug into, they allow you the information to be able to imagine what you think you are creating out of thin air. So we would like to empower you and begin looking back at your life, that every moment you daydreamed, every moment you imagined of something, every moment you created a drawing, you created a song, you created a humming, a sound, you thought of something new that perhaps doesn't exist on your planet. Know that in that moment you were communicating with other species that was giving you that information for you to expand. And in that moment, you as a human, an empowered, powerful being, divine light, are also communicating to those species, and those species were experiencing what you call imagination from their aspect of creation. So we will begin there to, in a sense, reboot your system and give you the permission slip to redefine your empowerment as already being empowered being and not disempowered. That there is no steps, in a sense, to be needed to be able to create, because you already have been creating all of your life. You have been manifesting with every breath that you take. You just weren't aware that you were, because of the illusion that you were separate from all, because of the illusion everything was happening to you and not through you, as the projection, the projector of your own reality, the creator of your own world. Yes?
Totally. Thank you. I did notice there was one person who asked a question. I think it was Sunny. She says, I have a question. I would like to live in a different place than where I live now. How can I make that happen, as it looks quite difficult to achieve it?
Yes. Listen to the words that you are using. Every word that you utter, every sound that you make already contains information that perhaps, because of the illusion of disempowerment, you are unable to see. Why define your life as being difficult? Well, from creation's eyes, it honors that vision, it honors that choice, because it does not judge you for what you decide to do or make. Begin listening to the words that you say. Begin listening to the stories that you are creating. And yes, we understand that through your humanity and within your culture, within your society, within your media, you have been trained to, in a sense, be on the bandwagon of being disempowered, be on the bandwagon that I am not empowered enough to be able to change my life. Let's simplify it and begin with the words. Redefine that question from a way. How can I live a magical life of my own choosing? Instead of, how can I shift my life into a new world that seems challenging? With every word that you utter, you are creating. You are magicians. Begin using words that are empowering, that remind you that you are the creator. And also the idea of, let's say, timing, that is going to take a long time for me to achieve such a destination. That is all an illusion. The only time that you have is this now moment. The only frequency that you have is this now moment. The only beingness, the state of being that you have in this now moment. It begins with believing that you are powerful, that you are the magic of your own life, that you are already that version that you seek. You are that version that you seek. Simply bring your focus and attention to that version of who you are. And do not judge the version of who you are right now that shows the idea of limitation, that shows the idea of having challenges, or to achieve something, I have to go through a challenge. That is all part of creation. That is honor. That is all facets of you. Love every part of that and begin speaking to yourself and thanking that version of yourself that has lived this way, and begin speaking to that new version of you that is already shifted to that reality. It is truly that simple. And because your humanity has ascended to a point where you are living right now in the quantum field, that you are able to manifest much faster than before, you will be able to experience such shifts at a rapid pace. Believe us when we say you are magicians. Believe us when we say you are gods. Believe us when we say that you have the power to literally, with the paintbrush, draw a new life for you. Know that you are the force. Know that you are the creator. And through that knowingness, you will create magic. And should the idea or the concept or the thought come in that I feel disempowered, that I am disempowered, should you catch yourself going back to the story of being disempowered, do not judge yourself in that moment. Honor that version of yourself and thank it for what it's bringing to you. And tell it, I honor your journey. With love and compassion, I see you. But now I choose to live a way that is different, that is more empowered, that I know through my words, through my sounds, through my actions, through my thoughts, through my knowingness, that I am already shifted to that new version of me. Yes?
That makes total sense. And we are our words. What, words have power. So I think what you've brought through and the way that you've shared with us is given a newer way of thinking, because we most have been conditioned in the past to the old ways, the old way of thinking that we're not good enough, we can't do this, we need to be doing this, or we need to be doing that. And we know that that's not the case, and we're letting go of all these layers to be true, who we truly are, in this moment now, in each and every moment. So the way that you've put it has been absolutely beautiful. So I thank you so much for that.
Yes. And allow us to interrupt for a moment for that specific being that posed that question. What came through to the channel right now, what we showed him, what we made him experience, is the idea of sound and music. For that specific being, a permission slip and a trick for her to be able to restructure her life. Begin listening to music that is empowering, to songs, and begin singing them out loud. It's a trick for your mind to be able to reformulate words that are embedded within your psyche, that are filled with power, that are filled with light, that are filled with imagination, that are filled with love. There are many singers and songs on your planet right now that focus solely on the idea of magic, the idea of living life from a very magical way, from a very empowered way. That is a small trick for that being to begin listening to help train her mind and sing them out loud and watch the magic happen. It is that simple, and it is not challenging as you think it is.
No, that's the old way of thinking, in it, that we're challenged by this, or we're hampered by this, or so it's reawakening our inner being to the magic within us.
Yes. And the channel recently learned through his friends, he met new friends about a month ago that have activated him into another level. These two beings that he met were of the essence of magic. Every single day, they say, I live in a magical world, in a miraculous world, in a world of magnificence. They utter these three words: magic, miracles, and magnificence. They utter them over and over and over again. And when they catch themselves saying something that is disempowered, they switch that word to magic, to magnificence, to miracles. Little permission slips for all to use, and watch what happens in your world. Watch literal magic appear. Watch a new version of you reveal itself to you. Watch your world shift. But know, as you shift, as your world shifts, you will still be able to witness other versions of other people's worlds. Do not live in the illusion that as I shift my vibration and frequency, and as I create magic in my world, that I'm going to begin seeing a world of magic. Yes, within your world you will, but you will still be able to observe other people's choices that may not be as magical as yours. And those choices have to be honored to keep them integrated. You live as a society, as a humanity here, in bubbles of realities. Your bubble of reality is different than the next bubble and the next human. And all of them are valid, all of them are honored by creation. So even though you may witness other realities out there, choices of people that may not be as aligned as you, that may not be as magical as you, do not believe and think that you are not living in the magical world that you choose. Is that clear?
Totally.
Yes. Because your own responsibility on this planet is to live your life in the most magical way that you can. Your responsibility is not for others. Another illusion, another limitation that your society has imposed on you to keep you within the idea of not focusing on you and focusing on others. Your business is only with you and not others. Why? Because when you empower others as divine lights and divine beings, and they have their choice to live their world whichever way that they want, that's how you integrate it all back to you. That's how you honor their journey. But if you judge it, if you say that I'm living in a magical world and I'm witnessing that being not living in one, and you perform the act of judgment, in that moment you are disempowering them. And truly, your responsibility is for you only. Yes?
Yes. Right. Is there any more questions anywhere at the moment? I don't think there is. So that has been absolutely magical for your sharing. And maybe you would like to come back another time and we could get some questions from our viewers.
Yes, we are forever grateful for this opportunity, and we are very elated and happy to be back when needed. But before we depart, the image of a bear just appeared for the other being that is your co-host.
Jeffrey.
The idea of a bear comes to him specifically.
Okay.
Are you aware with your connection with shamanism and bears?
We've only got one bear in Australia. It's called a koala bear.
Yes, but we are speaking specifically from the idea of shamanism, the idea of connection to totems, to animals, from a grander perspective of consciousness and creation.
Yep, fully aware, fully conscious of that.
Connect more with that idea, and more information will be revealed for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And for the host, you may be aware and remember that you have been visited by beings and were aboard a ship, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Know that those beings have made themselves known in this now moment and have visited you as we are dialoguing, and have embedded your biological body with new codes of awakening.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes. Notice changes within the next few months of your timing. And they will be working closely with you to allow the new energies that are coming through into your planet to be integrated in a more peaceful way.
Thank you.
Yes. And with that, we thank you for this beautiful co-creation. And we are honored and privileged to be in your presence as you are our ascended masters. With our unconditional love, bright, 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 white light of creation, and infinite, 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 multi-dimensional heart. We thank you for this beautiful co-creation as we go back to the Antares-Stargate, to where we belong, and we'll bring the channel back momentarily to his body.
And thank you so much for coming through and sharing all this wisdom and knowledge and magic with us.
Yeah, very good.
Indeed. Hi, guys.
The Antarean-Heart.
Oh, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you, Tony. That was amazing. I had no idea. I was just, I thought I forgot to ask you before the show. And I thought, well, if it's appropriate, if it wasn't appropriate, it wouldn't have happened. But it was an absolute delight. Thank you so much. Knowledge, wisdom, and magic and miracles that's going to help most of us now to re-listen and make notes, take notes, whatever, and put all these words into place so we can help this greater shift that's happening now.
Thank you for this opportunity, and I have chills all over my, like you maybe you'll see it. Thank you. it's really beautiful. It's really magical. It's really, and whoever's gonna listen to this is gonna shift. They like may not like immediately understand the concepts, but their consciousness will, and the activations have already like begun, and this show will attract the appropriate amount of people that are ready for that next step. So thank you for having this show and for having me here and for being the beautiful light that you are. And also, and here comes the stuttering because I'm back to reality. And Jeff and just for your mission, for being the voice, for being, the lights that you both are. And, and it takes courage to be out there speaking about those things. But this is what is needed for this moment, because people are awakening more and more, and they're awakening in a very fast way. So they need the support. They need to hear these stories that people are also awakening, that they're not alone. They're not crazy. Like they're not going insane, despite what the media says, despite what the world is saying the world is, right? It's like we're all breaking through it, but yet there is still a world that's still in that limitation. And it's like we're living in two worlds at once. You're not crazy. You're not alone. We're all going through it. You're honored. You are always supported. That's a big message, from the mantises, is you are never, ever have been alone, ever, never will be. It's just our awareness is we are alone, so we experience something like that. But we've always been guided. We're always being communicated with. We always have information at our disposal. But when you think you're not being communicated to, you're not being aware of that communication that's already happening, like within you. You know what I mean? So I'm just very honored. I'm so thankful. I love you guys. I love your audience.
No, we're honored, believe me. And the minute the channeling started, I was having like waves of gooses going up and down. I was thinking, oh my God.
Totally. And I'm so happy like that you mentioned that, because like that's the energy beyond the words that you hear, right? There's a lot of energetic codes. There's a lot of consciousness that is seeping through. There's a lot of way of communication that we cannot conceive right now that happened in that channeling. So thank you for acknowledging that.
No, thank you. And would you come back again and share some more? Because I haven't asked you half the things I was going to ask you.
Listen, I would love to do like a whole, if like you want a 2-hour channeling session, like for your audience, and like just for fun, if they want, if you want to advertise it a month ahead or like 2 weeks ahead, so they can all like formulate the questions or be like live and ask questions. I would love that, because it really is, it truly is my passion. I love being in that state.
We love what you're saying. If Jeffrey's okay with it, then we'll have a conversation and we'll get back to you.
No problem.
Well, the answer is yes. Hey, I just want to let you know, during your conversation, about 7-10 minutes into it, you'll notice that you're completely, the whole screen, all was surrounded in white light. I just wanted to give you that. I haven't seen that happen before on all our shows.
Is the screen on my end kind of, like you said, acted up?
Yeah, right around. The whole screen went white.
Wow. Okay. Well,
you're still there. Yeah, just have a look. You can have a look and you'll see it yourself.
Okay. So thank you for saying that. And like that's energies. I mean, so I guess that's physical proof that something shifted. That there's a frequency that the computer could not understand or whatever. Like I don't understand computers. I mean, I understand very basic, like the emails, the internet, and that's it. And these links. But thank you for saying that. That's a beautiful acknowledgement and a beautiful, like what's coming through right now. It's and here comes the stuttering, of course, because I'm back. It's a beautiful reflection of what just occurred. Like for your audience, if they think this is crazy, well, look what just occurred. This little, what seems like a glitch, but it's not. It's just we're shifting vibration. We're shifting realities to where like perhaps computers don't exist and consciousness exists, and this computer is already like limited, couldn't comprehend expanded consciousness. So thank you for that reflection, universe, because if you ever doubted, that's one little maybe hint or clue that what just occurred, something is beyond comprehension.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and it's been an absolute delight, and I look forward to talking with you afterwards. And thank you everybody for tuning in this week. And next week we've got another interesting guest for you. So tune in same time next week. Thank you everybody. Bye.
Thank you guys. Thank you.